Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this call and thank you for your interest in this topic. I am glad to present and share my learnings in this wonderful community of InnerSource practitioners. Um, Today, I'm going to talk about this a hackathon, a fun and a safe approach to get started with InnerSource. Usually, the hackathons are conducted by the organizations or foundations to increase the adoption of a new technology or to discover innovative ideas that can be productized. Um, can a hackathon help increase the adoption of new ways of working, or can it help scale in a source within an organization? Can it help accelerate the organizational transformation? And what do I mean by fun and a safe approach here? So let's see. Um, I'm Shanmugapriya Manoharan, and I go by Priya. I work as the engineering advisor in the open source program office in the Inga group of IKEA. And I work on drafting the guidelines for inner source and open sourcing and guiding the teams in their open source and inner source journey. And I have 15 years of experience in the software industry, and I've worked as the individual contributor, team lead, product owner, developing proprietary inner source and open source applications in my previous career stint. Prior to joining IKEA, I worked in Dell Technologies and HPE, predominantly working in virtualization and cloud native business continuity applications in enterprise storage domain. So let's go into the topic. And before I dive into the inner source as a solution for accelerating accelerating the adoption of new ways of working. I'll start with the challenges that organizations face in driving inner source adoption, even with the support of the senior leadership. In large organizations, driving organizational change and bringing in change in the ways of working, like inner source, it is harder than it seems. You may have seen this transformation curve, different variations of it in different uh, change enablement processes, and it applies to inner source also. It is necessary to push each individual and the engineering teams to the acceptance state beyond the denial and the ignorance state. And to achieve this, providing the guidelines and the processes to just create the awareness may not always work. In such cases, trying out the new ways of working and understanding the benefits firsthand helps in creating the actual awareness and leading to adoption. So there is our first opportunity to provide a trial ground for experimenting inner source. And the next challenge is scaling beyond the early adopters. Those who are aware of the open source ways of working and its benefits are the early adopters of inner source, and they drive inner source within the organization. But and also their inner source projects that these early adopters own are the successful ones, and they thrive with an active community around those projects. But they constitute only a fraction of the entire developer community. It is important to gain the support of the resistors and the late majority to accelerate the inner source adoption. In some cases, they may be the ones who are not familiar with the open source and collaborative ways of working. So, um, inner source may be a completely new term to them, and hence they resist adopting it. So, here is an opportunity to spread the awareness in an innovative manner to grab the attention of the late majority and the resistors. And another reason why the traditional ways of spreading the awareness about inner source is the difficulty in quantifying the cost saved through inner source. And the difficult question is, what is in it for me? It comes from both potential inner source maintainers and the contributors. So it's hard to quantify upfront. The short-term benefits through feature delivery always takes priority over the long-term benefits through inner sourcing. So for teams, it may not, the inner source may not always be the priority. And to realize the benefits of inner source, we need to change the mindset from siloed ways of working to collaborative development model. To influence the developer community in order to drive this transition, we have to answer these questions also along the way. But it is hard to quantify it and provide good enough answers. So it becomes a catch-22 situation here. So the driving forces or the root causes of these challenges could be, or as I already mentioned, the feature delivery always takes priority over the tooling and facilitating inner source. And adding to it, in many cases, there might be limited time and resources, which makes it hard to experiment new ways of working. And even if inner source takes priority, there is an implicit need for the teams to show the outcome and return on investment to the management by adopting inner source ways of working. And it's again hard to quantify even after maybe practicing inner source. So, yeah. So, with all these factors into consideration, there is a need for an experiment ground with not much pressure on the outcome, but the pure intent to spread the awareness about inner source in the developer community. So, one such solution is inner source hackathon. And who doesn't like a hackathon? Um, it provides a safe space to experiment. To explore new ways of working like inner source and without pressure on the outcome. And um, it's also fun to participate in a hackathon. And we can conduct the hackathon at a flexible time, convenient for the developers in the company. It can be as small as a one-day event, or it can be a longer event like for a week or maybe a 2 week or a month-long event too, whichever suits you the best. And the intent is to get as many developers on board through this event, and anyone in the developer community can participate. And hackathon, like any other hackathon, it can be done in varied scale. You can conduct hackathon, the inner source hackathon organization wide, or it can be constrained to specific business units. And who can ideally conduct a hackathon? Maybe, inner source hackathon, maybe it can differ from company to company. If there is a well-established inner source program office, then they can drive it. Or if the OSPO, like in my case, in our case, if OSPO supports the inner source as well, then OSPO can sponsor the hackathon. And there could be different categories like starting a new inner source project or contributing to the existing inner source project or participating as inner source mentors. And each category can have different judging criteria. For example, in the first category, the criteria can be the presence of standard documentation and clarity and inclusivity in the documentation, or even the presence of a common reusable aspect in the project itself. And in the second category, the criteria can be adherence of the contribution to the contributing guidelines of the existing inner source project, or you can also have criteria like relevance of the contribution to the project roadmap, and whether the contribution is a code or non-code contribution, etc. And maybe in the last category, the criteria can be like how many teams or how many individuals the participating teams helped during the event. And yeah, it can be any category that you choose to have, and can have respective judging criteria in those categories. And the potential results of this fun event could be increase in awareness, thus leading to increase in adoption. Um, so it can be increase in adoption in terms of new inner source projects or contributions through the existing inner source projects. And there is scope for discovering common reusable solutions within the organization for which the developer community may not have had time earlier. And even more, the participants of the hackathon are now aware of the inner source ways of working, and they can act as inner source ambassadors within their teams. And this one day event can induce continued adoption. And so it's just a start, and the journey continues for the participants and the teams that they work with. So I'll stop maybe preaching like this can happen through a hackathon. So now is the time for me to share our story and what we achieved through conducting a hackathon. So we in Inga Group of IKEA, we face challenges like scaling beyond early adopters and spreading the awareness about inner source to those who are new to open source and collaborative ways of working. And we also had challenges like getting contributions to the existing inner source projects in spite of the support from the leadership. So we explored innovative ways to spread the awareness without consuming much bandwidth from the developer community. And hence we arrived at one such solution, hackathon. So it was a one-day event. And I mean, officially it was a one-day event, but we gave a few days, few more days of time for the developers to, the participants to submit their work. And it was a virtual event, and hence it was open for the entire developer community in the company. So everyone could participate. They could participate individually or in teams. And we had two categories, starting a new inner source project or contributing. I mean, the second category is contributing to the existing inner source projects. In the first category, the participants could start a new inner source project or a new project from scratch in an inner source manner, opening up the code base from scratch, having all the documentation in place while starting it itself. Um, or they could also convert their or make their existing inner source project, existing project inner source ready by following the inner source guidelines and later publishing it in the inner source marketplace that we have. And in the second category, it required some pre-work to be done before the hackathon event itself. So pre-work was for the inner source maintainers, the existing project maintainers. We asked all the existing project owners to list the issues or list the features for which they would like contributions to during the event, and tag it with a tag like maybe hackathon or a good first issue, so that the participants could pick it and work on it during the event. So yeah, so the participants, some of them worked on one issue and some worked on more than one issue during the event. And yeah, so we declared winners in both the categories. And it was conducted by OSPO. And we had the judging panel comprising of representatives from different areas within the company. And most of the, I mean, all the judges were strong advocates of inner source within the organization. And it also involved a lot of promotion about the hackathon event itself. And the outcome was we saw participation from different units, and we also saw, the participation was from 6 different countries. Uh, the developers from 6 different countries within the organization participated in the event. And uh, I should share the results. Like we had contributions to the existing InnerSource projects, as well as as well as we saw new InnerSource projects. There were contributions to around 6 InnerSource projects, and more InnerSource projects were discovered. We saw around 50% increase in the InnerSource project landscape through this event. And one of the new InnerSource project was identified as a good candidate for open sourcing, and probably will open source it soon. And we were also able to reach uh, many in the developer community whom we may not have reached through the normal awareness methods. So that was our maybe the highlight of the results that we got. So, yeah, that was the end of our my story and the moral. Finally, we also believe that there could be similar challenges in other organizations too, and we want to share our learnings with the community. And so that's why we have a recent addition in the form of a new pattern to the InnerSource Patterns library. The new pattern is called the InnerSource Hackathon, and this is the link to the pattern. And yeah, you are welcome to contribute and enhance this pattern. If you have already done something similar, please do share your learnings too. So with that, we come to the end of this presentation, and that's all I had to share. Thank you for the opportunity, and open for questions now. Thank you.